The stream is live.
All right, welcome everybody to CryptoZombies, where we bring you the best brains in blockchain. Great to have everybody here. Welcome, Maryam, to the show. So pleased to have you join us.
Yeah, Maryam, welcome. We're back, everyone. We're all in different places again. Before we bring on Maryam, we can already see her. Chris, where you at, bro?
I'm at the upper west side, or upper east side, rather, of New York City, at the Cassatua Private Club at the Hotel Surrey.
Oh,
of course,
man.
it is a private
That sounds
club.
like it sucks.
It's terrible, absolutely terrible.
Hey, Chris, we won't get too much into it, but were your meetings in the UK fruitful?
Yes, they were. So yeah, Maryam was just mentioning London before we jumped on. So we'll talk a little bit about London as we get into all of this. But no, there's a lot of fascinating things going on in the UK, on the blockchain side of things. So had a great set of meetings. Got here to New York yesterday afternoon. Gonna enjoy the U.S. Open this weekend on Sunday. After
Look
a
at
whole
this
bunch
guy.
of, I've got an athlete coin. I've got an athlete coin meeting after this, and a couple more blockchain mortgage meetings to do, and then U.S. Open on Sunday. And then I got the exciting Bay Area. Yeah.
Well, let's bring in our guest, Chris, Nick. You found this guest for us. Do you want to bring her on?
Maryam is a dear friend, and actually my wife's best friend. Just to
Awesome.
kind of
Okay.
And Miriam's husband is a dear friend as well. So shout out to Marco, who's also a world-class chef. And just these are world-class humans. And just excited to learn a little bit about DeFi and where the future of finance is. So Maryam, you're a rock star. We love you. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Nick, for the nice intro.
Give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll avoid calling you cucaracho on air. That'd be the only time. But yeah, my background. Nice to be here. Happy Friday, guys. I have about a decade of experience, a little over a decade, in the intersection of finance and tech. Can you guys hear
that? What the hell is that?
Yes.
What? Is someone cleaning right?
Sounds like a vacuum. Exactly.
And we are live.
The robot vacuum that empties itself when it's done. And
it's a Roomba.
Perfect timing. Perfect.
These are what we call robot problems.
This is how you know we're live, guys.
Hold on. We just learned something about Maryam. Are you a clean freak?
I kind of am. My husband. I
Go.
also have 2 Bengal cats, and we don't any hair anywhere. So
okay, there we go.
It was every morning.
You're very
shedders. They're shedders.
Yeah, but
okay. What are the cats' names?
What are the cats' names?
Talk about my cats. I mean, I'll bring up
their names?
photos. This is like my Achilles heel. I'll just talk about them all the time.
Yeah, well, just give us a little bit. I mean, you brought it up, so.
Yeah, they're 2 Bengal cats, Kiki and Raja.
Kiki and Raja. Okay.
But they're cute. They're really sweet. I'm sure at some point they'll want to actually cross the screen. So maybe you guys will see them.
I normally, when I'm at home, when we do it, it's a podcast studio in my basement. My cat Socks often jumps into the scene.
Yeah.
So
that's the CryptoZombies resident cat.
Exactly.
Chris, all I need to know about you is that you like cats, and I immediately am your friend.
We're good. We're good.
Match made in heaven, guys.
All right. Well, Maryam, I want to kick off the first question. We sort of got your bio. We learned about the cats and the vacuum. That's good enough. You've helped early stage companies scale from 0 to launch. What are the most common mistakes founders make when moving an idea and a product in digital finance?
Yeah, good question. First, I have massive respect for any founder, let alone in crypto. It requires an insane amount of resilience and determination and discipline. So massive respect to all founders. But kind of sitting at a seat close to founders for a couple early startups, I think it's different a little bit in Web 2 and Web 3, but there is one major thing to look out for, which is not underestimating the space you're disrupting. Any space that's disrupting, that tech is disrupting, is a deep space. And it's been that way for many years. And there's a lot of knowledge in the domain that the person with the innovative tech might be missing. And so that I think is one area to look out for. Another one, especially in crypto, is to have the conviction to kind of stay the course and have your own individual thought and opinion and stay with it. Even though the narratives there's a lot of herding narratives sometimes in crypto where one person says, a couple VCs say one thing and then everyone runs to that one thought, or there's modularity, then there's composability, and then there's like roll-ups, and so everyone's kind of like, there's a lot of FOMO around the different areas in crypto, and so if you can hone in that focus and just stay heads down and build, I think that's a pretty amazing skill to have in crypto, because you're going to be, especially with marketing in crypto, like there's a lot of companies actually in crypto that are incredible companies with really strong builders, but you don't hear about them because they don't play the shitcoin marketing game. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the shitcoin marketing game in a second. But I'm wondering, what do you think the biggest problem, unsolved problem in DeFi is right now? Is it liquidity? Is it regulation? Is it UX? Something else?
You've named it. It's a couple of those things. The UX, it's a lot of devs building for devs, and so the UX isn't on par with the fintechs.
Chris just laughed at that. Chris, you agree?
UX continues to suck in this world, right? That's one of the number one problem to adoption, right?
Yeah, it's kind of par for the course. Like early internet also looked like this. It was like sending just like a voice bet over the internet was a whole thing. And so I think it's a bit par for the course, but we definitely need more designers coming into the space. That is actually a little bit of another one for the earlier question. Some founders get a little too ahead of themselves and like being so smart that they design a UX that's for really smart people, like PhD, like very, very like, and then you think about, well, a lot of people are coming new into crypto, new to the space. And so it depends on like the domain. DeFi is definitely, it's not the first, even though it was my first part of getting into crypto, it's not the first place to jump in when you're trying to get introduced to crypto. It's especially DeFi lending.
Maryam, do you follow the world of blockchain? Yes or no? I'm
in it.
You are. Have you heard of a company called Alchemy?
I know them very well. Yeah.
What do you think of those losers?
I love Alchemy. I mean, I think they got the tagline first of AWS of Web3. They have a really cool office. My friend Angelina, she's chief.
She's the best. Yeah,
well,
shout out to Angelina.
You're on the Zoom.
So I angeled Alchemy. So that was
incredible.
That was my first investment in the space, and so and I'm very close with Angelina and Joe Nikhil.
Yeah,
and awesome. So no, this is a labor of love with those guys. So
yeah.
What do you think? What criticisms do you have of Alchemy, Maryam?
How could they improve?
Yeah, we want to help Chris out here today.
It's hard, man. There's very few criticisms.
Very little to criticize. Yeah,
I think they're one of the gold standards of.
Chris uses that term all the time. Chris always says, "I want you to know, man, we are the gold standard of
BS for me." Like, everybody realizes this. Yeah.
And you're making me realize even more answers to the first question you asked, which is, I think a lot of founders, especially in the crypto space, don't capitalize on the importance of culture. And I think Alchemy is prime example of a company that, Angelina was early on and they prioritize culture from the start. And who you hire in the early stages is so important. Like I've done hiring for a couple early stage companies, and did we lose them?
It's all right. Keep talking. The rest of us are here.
Somewhere he just blacked out. His screen just blacked out a little bit. It's fine.
No. Okay.
Anyway, I would just say, when you say culture, obviously hiring is super important, right? But like, what are some other ways that we could share with the founders that are tuning in? How to build culture?
I think there's a lot of competition for talent, and sometimes it's very quick to just say, well, you have the background, you're clearly smart, you're in, right? And especially when you want to go fast and you want to build fast, and speed's most important, you want to just hire the best people and then be like, build, help me build, let's get to our goal. But who that person is, especially when you're like under 10 people or even under 15 or 20, it really matters, right? You're spending so much time with each other at these stages of the company, like pre-product, that who's able to be nimble and quick and, you know, kind of just give everyone energy and provide solutions instead of complaining, who can like navigate an ambiguity, who can actually like roll with the punches and be like, okay, well, I guess today I'm going to roll up my sleeve and carry boxes, or today I'm going to, you know, and the next day you're like pitching VCs or whatever. Like it's a very wide range of, and you have to do it with a smile. I think, you know, you have to really love early startup. And I think
resilience. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. Which one is this?
Oh, wow.
Is that Taj Mahal? Who is that?
Come say hi. This is Kiki.
Hey, Kiki. All right.
This would be a perfect moment for you to show your cat. Then the cats could talk to each other, Chris. And that
we'll get to sock. Well, when I get back to my podcast studio at home.
Hey,
next
Maryam,
week, or week after next.
Right. Maryam, what coins are you invested in?
I don't really do shitcoin trading. I do fundamentals-based trading. I'm a big fundamentals girl. So I just kind of support the really early chains that I know they're going to do well, or really good protocols. So I'm a little boring there.
But what if Bitcoin like disappeared tomorrow and there was no forks or recovery? Like what protocols would you want to bet on, would you say?
Well, if Bitcoin disappeared tomorrow, we'd have a really big problem, because why? The
other challenges.
Crypto, it's like the black swan. But if that did happen, assuming crypto still survives, I mean, Ethereum is, I think, for DeFi, the most important change. It has a lion's share of institutional money, has a lion's share of protocol. Solana is kind of on the heels of that. It's doing really well. They're very good with speed. Another favorite of mine is Avalanche. I think they're really underrepresented.
Oh my God, Maryam, what's going on over there?
What's the rumor again?
I just realized, gentlemen, you're not taking this seriously.
The cats are being cats, which is fantastic. We're
this is
big believers in
arguable
behavior.
Hold on, all right.
Turn the vacuum on again.
You know what's good about these cats in the vacuum? It shortens her answers. All right, listen, this is what I want. Chris, I want you to pitch Maryam your athlete coin, and then Maryam, you say if it's going to be successful or not.
Okay.
So, we're starting with digital collectibles for athletes to release themselves. It'll be in a controlled environment, a controlled trading environment, and a limit on the number of coins, and that's how the basic operation is going to work. But eventually, it'll roll up and be tradable into a master athlete coin that will be backed eventually with stakes in sports teams, and that's the way that we're putting this together. So I'll be doing a meeting on that after this, adding a couple of new kind of key investors to the project. But we've been working on this for about a year now, and it's about to come to fruition, which is exciting.
All right, Maryam, go ahead. Let's hear it.
It's very cool. I think the thing I like the most about it is this kind of onboarding users into this like little fun, gamify, easy way. Baseball trading cards has always been a thing, familiar, and then kind of going onwards to a full sports betting, which could be a little bit intimidating for certain users. So you capture a bunch. That's a really cool. I think it'll be really exciting. Not for me per se, because I'm not interested in that stuff, but for people who are.
Where's your cat coin coming out, Chris? When's that cat coin coming out?
Then maybe we'll end up doing
that would be the first shit coin.
Cathlete coins.
Talking about coins, Bryn, how is Trump's coin doing, and how is Melania's coin doing?
Oh man, I didn't look into Melania's coin. I just to want to make a clear, just in context, I don't really have Trump coin. I don't really care about it, but you mentioned it once, and so now I'm affiliated with Trump coin every time. Let me just go ahead, and it's at $8.33. For context, it came out, I think it started around like $28 not too long ago, and so now it's really kind of quite crappy. But initially, the reason why I brought it up was because World Liberty Financial is like they make a lot of moves in the space, and they currently actually just launched their own crypto coin too. So I think that they're just making moves that people should pay attention to.
And there's controversy already because they've frozen Justin Sun, one of their big investors. They've frozen his wallets and the coins. And that's causing, there's a public fight about this right now that's going on.
That guy
That's
just can't
fascinating.
stay out of controversies.
Yeah, and that guy, you're exactly right. That guy cannot stay out of
Well,
controversy.
talking about controversial guys, let's talk about our dear friend Gary Gensler.
You're still talking about him. He's old news.
Miriam, what are your thoughts on
I think
Gary?
that's the right
you want to say anything
answer.
about Gary?
He's old news. He's yesterday's problem. I mean, I'm glad. Listen, this administration, yeah. But
give a compliment to this administration.
In crypto, they've done really well.
In crypto, they've been amazing. And so I spent a bunch of time a week before last at Scaramucci's conference in Jackson Hole with Paul Adkins, the new SEC chair. And boy, he's a breath of fresh air, I got to say.
Anything else you want to say good about the administration, Miriam? Come on.
I mean, I'll focus more on the fact that it is such a breath of fresh air. Like when I joined crypto in 2022 at Euler, there was this whole exodus slowly happening of just innovation and anything related to crypto leaving the US. And I think I'm so happy to see clarity, genius coming through, and even more regulation, because it's just it stifled innovation for a long time in crypto. And a lot of entrepreneurs didn't want to build. I think we lost a lot of talent to AI in that process because people got impatient. Right. And so it became a little hard. It was like this intense winter of regulation, just stifling innovation. And by contrast, I don't go into it too much, but by contrast, in the 90s, we did the exact opposite as a country. We basically said, here's the legislation, and let's introduce regulation for the internet, telecoms, keeping it here in the States. And that allowed us to become the kind of center and the innovation center for tech until now. And, I was a bit worried, as everybody else was, that if an administration doesn't embrace tech and innovation, then it goes elsewhere because you can't slow it down. It just finds another place to build.
Wow, that's deep. That was a great answer. All right, so I want Chris to pitch you something else. And Miriam, you were really soft on his athlete coin. You didn't give him really any negative feedback. If you have negative feedback, let it out. Even though he's the first investor out to me, don't hold back. All right? Let him have it.
I'll try. He's a cat.
Treat him like, an intern. Whatever.
He likes cats.
Yeah, treat him with someone who hates cats. All right. Chris, pitch Miriam your treasury company. Let her know what it is, and then Miriam, tell him the problems with it. Go ahead.
So I've also spent some time on this today, and we'll be doing another meeting on this as well. So we're doing a Bitcoin and Ethereum treasury company, and we're open to other coins, but we're starting with 50% Bitcoin, 50% ETH. It's going to be $300 million target. We're about to go to market with it next week. Kind of trying to close a couple of fold-in acquisitions, because we'll have an operating business that's doing point-of-sale options for crypto, for acceptance of crypto by merchants on the other side of this. Like a lot, like Strategy and a number of the other kind of treasury companies, will be holding at least 300 million, and hopefully a lot more crypto on the balance sheet. And that's going to be the primary value underlying the company.
All right, Miriam.
Are you issuing a stable coin?
No. So we're not going to issue a stable coin at the end of the day. That we think that sort of doing that on our own and doing all the treasury acquisition and everything else, that is just going to be, we're going to leave that to the banks to do it themselves. There are obviously going to be other competitors to USDC and to Tether. So we're not going to be in that game. We may end up holding some stable coins as part of our treasury, but we think that the ones that are likely to increase in value are where we're going to stay focused, and we think that that's true of both Bitcoin and ETH, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that makes me think about the Genius Act. And how there is going to be a lot of auditing and validation around holding cash-like instruments and treasuries if you're issuing a stable. And so I don't know if this is what gave you kind of the idea, but there's going to be a really big demand for treasuries and cash-like instruments to be kind of packaged and ready to go for stables to use as reserves. I think the demand for treasuries is going to go up in general. So then there we go. You're just going to get more valuable outcome there. But I don't know if I'm fully thinking of it in the way you're thinking of it. But it sounds very exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do think that what you're describing is accurate with regard to treasury demand under the Phoenix Act. Our focus is going to be more on kind of holding alternative coins. I share your sentiments about most coins out there right now being kind of shit coins. There are ones that have real value over time and you deliver it. And,
like Athlete Coin.
Well, Athlete Coin, because it will be eventually backed by real assets, will be one of them that has underlying and inherent value. We think that will be a successful project, a very successful project.
All right, so listen, Bryn emailed me something that I want him to share with you guys. I want everyone to tell me if this is a good thing or a bad thing that's happening in the world of crypto. Go ahead, Bryn.
Not that I know how to report any news or anything, because I'm not that official, but I did send him a link to, it was just an article that said the CFTC had issued something, an advisory clarifying that foreign exchanges, because we have friends, right, that had to use VPNs to sign into an exchange to trade with futures and stuff. And
no one did that here.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so what happened was when something called KYC happened and then they required you to like show that you're not in the US, these friends of ours couldn't prove it. And so our friends, they got kicked out of the exchange, but they still have their crypto there. So now I think with this regulation, I think that we might be able to see certain exchanges like Bybit and Binance back allowed in the US, which would be awesome for our friends. That we really want.
Yeah, our friends need their money back. Our friends need their. Maryam, your thoughts on this?
I mean, he's saying exactly why it was such a challenging time when the administration was hostile and Gensler wasn't.
You talking about Biden? Talking about Joe Biden?
Yeah, I'm talking about Gensler.
Okay.
As a whole, he wasn't helping the space either. So yeah, him too, I guess. But directly, Gensler was like the one that was Biden let him go crazy too. But he basically all companies were like, if you're in the US, you can't access our exchange, you can't access I was working for a company where to test the product I had a VPN into certain things because I was in the US. It was terrible. It's just terrible. Right. It's all this weird and it just drags down. It's like such a waste of time, right? And it's like everyone's going to find a way around it. And it's not really what Gensler was saying is going to protect consumers, protect consumers by allowing them to actually earn yield, leave them alone, so I don't know. It kind of sucked. Binance, I think, added back dollars recently, access to dollars. So that's a good signal. So I think we need to come back.
Are our friends with Binance, Bryn, or is that who our friends are with?
No, but if it's a good start because some of our friends, I think our friends are on Bybit. And
Bybit.
Okay.
We're just wondering about all this stuff and asking for our friends. That's all.
All right. So Maryam, what specific first I have so many questions because you're married to a chef. Do you guys have stuff to talk about?
I always ends up wanting to talk about my husband.
World class chef.
He's very charming. That's your fault.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything in common or do you guys just cook together? How does that work? Because you're in finance, he's in food.
Well, he's actually in real estate. He's not a chef by he's a chef by the fact that he just is obsessed with food, and he's Italian, and they bonded around their family table around food.
How long you guys been married?
I think in October it'll be 7.
Wow. Okay.
That's great. All right. So what specifically are you working on right now that would open our eyes and make us understand something? And you can talk super high level because Chris and Nick will understand it. And so will Bryn. I'll be the only one who's lost. Go ahead.
Well, I think, like I said before, I jumped into the deep part of the swimming pool, which is DeFi lending. And now I'm kind of thinking about, well, I have a lot of fintech background, I have a TradFi background, like where can I be helpful and what could I start working on that really makes the space go forward? And I think a lot of people are talking and are excited about payments and the payment space being kind of rattled and fee compression happening through stablecoin adoption. So in a very quick way, what's happening, and Chris, please jump in, a lot of people are used to paying 2 to 3%. International cross-border payments go up to like 7-10% sometimes, FX fees, correspondent bank fees, etc. And there's just like massive fees being taken by Visa, MasterCard, Amex, the card providers, and the banks, etc., on being these intermediaries that facilitate money movement around the world, right? And the pace of money being moved right now is very slow. Like it is dial up. It's like it's not at the speed of the internet, right? Like the internet is instantaneous, it's fast, it's connected everywhere, it's global. Like the vision is that anyone with a phone can send money anywhere instantaneously at very low fees. And like the fact that we're not there yet is like, because
frustrating. It's frustrating.
What's the time horizon on that, would you say?
What? Sorry.
What's the time horizon on it? Because like if we look back, 5-10 years ago when companies still had like actual handsets at their desk, like those are largely gone, right? So that the entire set of technology is kind of democratized. So you had mentioned voice over internet protocol. So when do you think we're going to get to that point where anybody with a phone and an internet connection can be able to like seamlessly transfer this peer-to-peer kind of lending?
Yeah.
And are you going to be the one to solve it, Maryam?
I honestly, I'm a little bit against being a founder, so I'll join a company. I just like my work-life balance a little, but I will join a company and take it to product around this. But
Chris, what company should she join? You know who's hiring for this?
I mean, there are a whole bunch of different options. I mean, look, she could join Alchemy at the end of the day if she wanted to.
Job offer.
Oh, here we go.
Matcha all day long.
Chris is about to recruit you. You want the job, Maryam?
Exactly. Angelina will serve you
back.
matcha.
Maryam, you want that job?
Because it makes you productive.
Yeah, no, matcha's great. I would be interested in hearing about which I think that's where, I don't know where I'm at, where you're at, Chris, but there's a lot of question mark around. I think I've heard even VCs say where to invest when it comes to the payment space, because you have the fintechs coming in, you have the kind of the raw early startups getting incubated, but then the banks aren't going to be doing this anytime soon. Like the intermediaries themselves aren't going to.
Although the banks are likely to do their own stable coins at this point. Like that's how the banks are going to play in crypto. Is that each of them will do one separately, but they'll work out some interoperability deal between them. And obviously Ripple was supposed to be that. I'm not sure that Ripple is going to end up being a useful part of the infrastructure, but I don't think that they're going to be the central part of the infrastructure and this will get me in trouble with Brad and with Chris Larson, but I don't think that they're going to achieve the kind of centrality that they thought that they were at the beginning. I think every bank is going to do it for themselves, especially given the Genius Act now. And there's a whole bunch of competition to come among those and with all of those stable coins.
Is it difficult for Chris and Maryam to give Trump compliments for what he's doing? Is this hard for you guys?
I have happily and will here again say how wonderful this administration has been on crypto. And I can say that at the same time that I keep saying how awful they've been on just about everything else.
All right, there it is.
Hey, you asked, human.
All right, Maryam, we're coming towards the end here. Is there anything you want? I mean, we have a million questions. Is there anything you want to talk about? Should we give you a final question? Is there anything you want to mention that we haven't covered? If not, I'm gonna give you the final question.
You go for it, because I'm here to answer questions, not ask.
Is decentralization overrated? At the end of the day, is this what people care about, or who will kill crypto first, governments or greedy insiders? If crypto fails, what will be the reason? You can choose.
Let's do the second one. The second one's juicier, I think.
Juicy. I mean, regulation's coming around, right? So we don't have to worry about that guy anymore. Like I think
Gary Gensler. We're talking about Gary again.
Yeah, he is.
No. But that's dumb regulation. There's smart.
I know it's old news,
regulation
but we
that's-
keep talking
that's
about him.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about administrations that are pro innovation, embrace innovation, always are great and appreciated, right? I do think there's something in that second question that gets not talked about as much, but like it's this casino side of crypto.
Aha! It's gambling, everyone. Go ahead.
I mean, there is a very much a casino side, right? There's like very serious builders building really cool things. And then what everyone wants to talk about, what the PR gets, is the casino side, which is like, blockchain in the end of the day is a technology, and crypto is like a version of how blockchain comes out. Like it's the currency side. And that gets all the attention. And it's frustrating sometimes because it kind of casts a shadow of like not being taken seriously and being associated with scams and charlatans coming in, especially when the bull market's happening. You get more and more of them. That's, I think, why sometimes I kind of like the bears, because the people who are actually builders continue. But yeah, I do think there's a real risk from the people who just want to get in, get quick rich. It's fine to be a degen, but like, there's levels to being a degen, and sometimes the extraction of value without actually creation of value slows down. Well, I don't know, it won't kill the space, but it'll slow down its adoption.
I
I
agree.
If there's one, Chris and Maryam, if there's one regulation you'd like to see happen today, what would it be? Something passed today. Is there anything?
Look, I'm very much behind. I'm happy with the Genius Act and the way that it's worked out to make stablecoins sort of safe and regulatorily approved here in America. I do think we need additional market structure legislation, and I expect that we'll get it by the end of the year.
Maryam?
I think it came out quite recently. I was reading about it, but I think it's really unfair to have devs that build a protocol be held directly responsible for how that protocol gets used, right?
Yeah.
Like the creator of Instagram or whatever social media doesn't actually get held accountable if someone uses it in a bad way, right? If a manipulative way. And so there was recent, I don't know, Chris, if you know the exact name, but there was some recent legislation.
Tornado cat. Well, so there was legislation. Oh, I'm sorry, you're asking about legislation.
Yeah.
There
I think there was a specific piece of legislation that came out, and finally the U.S. said, like, well, devs will no longer be held accountable, or they're working on it. I don't want to misstate.
Yeah, so there are a number of advocacy groups in the space are working on legislation that makes it clear that there shouldn't be things that prosecutions brought, like the Tornado Cash prosecution. And generally speaking, I'm quite supportive of that. I don't think that you should be targeting devs for creating protocols that happen to be misusable. I think that that's a terrible anti-innovation road to go down.
100%.
I don't usually end the show by asking this question, but how do we do, Maryam?
This is fun.
Okay, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, if you guys are such a fun bunch, it's like I've had such a great time. Sometimes I forget that we're on.
Take ourselves very seriously.
I just feel like we're having a conversation. It's great.
You could tell.
This is the and we need outstanding guests like you to help.
Outstanding. She's outstanding, Chris.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
World class.
Say next to me, like cats.
World class.
Right.
Well, Maryam, anything? Oh, Nick, ask your final question. What do you like? The plugging thing.
Well, let's see. First, just a quick note from one of the listeners here. Joachim Hulten says the EU regulations, EU might snuff out the Euro initiatives. So, Maryam, I don't know if you have a quick take on what's happening in Europe.
I'm not as plugged in, but I know that in general, EU regulations are still a little bit behind when it comes to like how forward thinking they're being in comparison to the US. It's just, I think there's a little bit more of a conservative approach still there. I think it's also an education thing. Like I think as more people learn more about crypto, like
see what she just said? See what she just said? They're not as educated as us. You heard that? Everyone hear that?
Yeah, I meant kind
totally
of
heard
like
that.
policy workers and people in government.
You're hearing what you want to hear. Okay, and then Joachim says Pirate Boy programmers was sent to jail. And also, Chris, to your earlier point, I think it was Section 230, right? That doesn't hold Facebook accountable or like these platforms accountable for the content that goes on.
Right. No, there is the 230 protection for general interactive service providers, but the abrogation of some of that in a crypto environment, the Justice Department has been very hostile. The Biden Justice Department was very hostile to crypto providers.
The old honeypots, right?
Yeah. It was the tornado cash prosecution was unfortunate.
Oh yeah,
it is unfortunate. All right, Nick, go ahead.
All right, Maryam, you've been fantastic. How can the CryptoZombies community be helpful to what you're building?
She's looking for a job, everyone. All right, go ahead, man.
The jobs find her, actually.
Yeah, jobs find her, I'm sure.
I'm marinating ideas right now, but yes, I would be interested in another position soon. I think what you guys are doing is great, kind of pivoting from your original audience to a crypto audience somewhat, and having kind of audiences that maybe aren't listening to crypto constantly learn more and more about it. I think in the end of the day, crypto is a bit of an echo chamber. Sometimes we're all talking to each other, and the more we get new interests, new people coming in, learning about it, understanding the benefits, that it's not a scam industry, because there's a little bit of a PR problem still, right, around crypto.
Yeah.
It's improving, but there's still a PR problem. So I think that is the most helpful to the space.
Excellent.
Well, listen,
Fantastic.
we're so happy you had a good time.
Yes.
Because you're one of Nick's friends. Normally, we don't care if they have a good time or not, but we want the friendship to continue between you.
Human was being very polite today, which is a rarity.
I'm surprised Sandra hasn't popped in and said hello.
Yeah, we'll have her on next week. How about that?
Oh, you guys, her and I on a podcast. Watch out.
Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds like fun. It sounds like fun.
You speak Spanish?
Sí, pero no.
Oh, look at that. All right. He does it all. All right, Nick, take us out, bro.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us for another zesty episode of CryptoZombies. For more, check out siliconzombies.com, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Maryam. Great to see everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks all.
Thanks.